One motorcycle racing icon whose career spans over 20 years certainly put motorcycling on the map in Ireland. He is Mr. Tommy Robb. Tommy, how are you doing?
Hi
Good.
Claire, lovely to see you again.
Good, and you? Tommy, you must have been really passionate about motorbikes because you started when you were about 15. That's when you got your first bike, wasn't it?
Yeah, well I think like all motorcyclists, you start very young. Maybe not as young as the Americans. They start when they're about 3 and 4, but yes, I did. I saved very, very hard for it. And I think at £50 saved up towards it, and suddenly got the chance to go to Austria with the Scouts and the Jamboree and represent Ireland, but I turned that down because I wanted to have this first motorbike. And my father lent me the rest of the money, and we bought the first bike for just over £100. But I didn't realise then that later I would be in Austria every year at the Austrian Grand Prix. It's funny how fate works, you know.
What was your first experience of English circuits? What was that like?
My first ever race in England was, I think it was Oulton Park in 1958. And I slept on the floor of the boat on the way over because I couldn't afford a berth. And Ralph Renson, who was killed in 1960, met me at Liverpool, took me to Oulton Park. And luckily I won my first race in the NSU there from Front Perslow of Shrewsbury.
It seems hard to think of motorcycle racing without the name Honda being up there, but it was a new thing, wasn't it, back in those days? And of course you went on to become a works rider for Honda, didn't you?
Yes, well, Hondas first came into the country, I think, in 1959. And by 1962, when I joined them, they were really established. And 62, 63 and 64, I was with them. And little did we realise in those days that they would be bringing us back out to Japan last year. In fact, we did an interview with Jeff from this programme out in Japan in 1998. 50 years later for their 50th anniversary, which was really nice. But of course, everybody knows what a success story Honda has been, as have been Yamaha.
Now, you mentioned in your book something which I think sums up the whole era. You didn't do it for the money, but the laughs were priceless. That's brilliant.
Well, I think so. Everybody makes a profession out of sport for money, but it's not the money that's the driving instinct when you're younger. It's the fact that you want to win. That's what drives you on in sport. And later, the money comes with it. And the strange part is that in life, whenever you need the money when you're starting out in any new career, especially motorbikes or cars, nobody wants to give you any. And then later in life, whenever you become successful and you're doing very well, everybody wants to give you everything. But by that time, you're usually too old to appreciate it or do anything with it.
Now, you were racing at the time with the likes of Agostini, Hailwood, Surtees. What are your memories of them?
Oh yeah, terrific. Especially as I still see Agostini at these parade laps every year. Unfortunately, he's still as handsome as ever he was. He doesn't seem to have any more wrinkles on him. But without a doubt, one of my greatest mates and companions and the greatest rider of all times was Mike Hailwood. He'll never be forgotten. He has never been forgotten. And anywhere that they put a poster up about Mike, the crowds still flock in to see his old bikes or to hear things about him. Terrific guy.
Now, you must be very proud to have such a fantastic tribute paid to you at the beginning of your book by Jeff Duke.
Jeff Duke was probably one of the most stylish riders the world had ever seen, and the greatest rider in his own day. And I think it's probably regrettable that the media of TV wasn't about in Jeff's day, because Jeff was so eloquent. He was a handsome guy. He put over a wonderful image for motorcycling, but it was radio coverage virtually. And had he had the media of television today, Jeff would have been terrific for motorcycling. He really would.
Now, a lot of people will actually wonder, is it oil and water running through those veins rather than blood? Because you've had some really serious accidents. You know, you broke your neck, you've got on and raced a bike, you know, through pain. What motivates you to go through that and get back on again?
I don't know. I think it's the motivation that's in any sport when you're younger. You're so keen on getting to the top of your own particular sport that the injury side of it you shrug off, you forget about it. I remember going into my physio one day and saying, I'm out next Wednesday night on a grass track, can you have me ready? Can you bend this straight? He said, Tommy, I can have you ready every weekend in life, but what you're going to be like when you're 60, he said, I wouldn't like to promise you. And I must admit, now that I've reached pension age and the arthritis has set in, it is pretty painful.
You
But
look
in
in
those
good shape
days,
to me.
in those days, you didn't think about it. But you see, I was very lucky because your dad, who people know as Bill Smith, we were very lucky. The reason that he and I didn't hurt each other much was because we always fell on our head. And
It didn't knock any sense into him. Oh, well, I tell you what, it's brilliant to hear that you've still got an active interest in motorsport, as obviously it's a passion of yours, and you're going to be at the TT this year doing one of the...
yes, we'll be over doing the parade lap in the TT. I'm going to Montlaria in France in May, probably Bewley later in the year, the Ulster Grand Prix. Still having a ride, provided my Zimmer frame gets me to the bike, that is. But yeah, it's great because we still meet all the old friends who used to race, and you still keep in contact with racing in the modern day. And for me, it's lovely. It keeps an interest. My wife and son have their dogs to look after and show, and that's their interest.
And
Mine
you've got
is
your
still
passion.
the motorbikes.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you at the TT this year.
I look forward to that, Cara. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.